Welcome back to F1. We are race 5 or 6, I'm not sure, but we're halfway through the season anyway, and it's going great. We're ahead of McLaren and the constructors. Let's see if we can keep the pace with our gain. Now, here we go. This is our qualifying for the British Grand Prix. So what happens with this Grand Prix? There's no curbs that really spin you out, like a lot of the curbs in, obviously, the Spanish Grand Prix, and, you know, there's a few curbs that have spun me out in the past, but the English Grand Prix, every curb is just so nice and perfect that I think it's going to be a pretty good, maybe easy race for us today. As I see, like I said, I'm literally just on every curb. There's no need for me not to be. There's no spinning involved. It's a very fast Grand Prix, as anyone who watches F1 will know that. And yeah, it's a very fun Grand Prix. We're in the lead right now, which, as I said, is just amazing. Knowing our car has not the full power. As I mess up the turns there, they catch up, and Hamilton, no, we're neck and neck. Hamilton is in the lead, though. Let's see when we hit this corner, because I'm usually better than at these corners. Yes, I get ahead of Hamilton, and let's see if we can keep pole for the last few chicanes. Here we go, nice acceleration, and we are in the lead so far, coming up to the finish line, and we get pole position.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
For the English, for the UK, for the Grand Prix in Silverstone. What an amazing race.
Tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Thomas, Hamilton, and Max Verstappen. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Alright, qualifying is up. We are now heading into the race.
Great Britain then, one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every single year of the Formula One World Championship. And the circuit extends that record further for today's Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Thomas lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Bottas, Sergio Perez, and Leclerc, Norris, Sainz, Ricciardo, and Pierre Gasly, Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, and Ocon, Stroll, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Latifi, Alesi, and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for those.
Our team needs to step up. We're getting in the points.
Then let's see who can prevent.
We're getting in the points most races. So our team needs to step up. Try and get in the points. So it is my home Grand Prix here, as we put the UK in our thing, in our driver profile. So here we go, pole position, Bottas and Hamilton racing neck and neck. Bottas takes second place from Hamilton already. Verstappen closing behind him third with Sergio Perez behind him. Already Bottas is already a battle has happened and Bottas won, and that's how quick these corners are. Bottas is now ahead of Hamilton in second. Anyway, a few more laps to go because I keep pole position for a few laps, or it stays the same, nothing really happens, and we're back with lap 3. So Bottas is in second with fastest lap, and yeah, Hamilton is in third with Verstappen in fourth, and fifth Perez. In these type of races, I always do well when I'm pole position. Most of the time, if I don't spin out, I've got it. Like, it's nearly a certified win just because of how well I am at keeping my pole position. And usually, like we saw in the Austrian Grand Prix, like Leclerc, when you get pole position and you're kind of a bit of distance, it's just you stay there for ages unless you make a mistake. Bottas is trying to make a move, but I defend very well, and I'm going around this corner and I make gap, and now there's a bit more of a gap than when he tried to get past us, and well, we know he didn't. Yeah, as you can see, he is still trying to get past us, but we're keeping pole position. Anyway, something just happened. This is the replay on it. Oh, Leclerc is trying to take over Daniel Ricciardo, but Daniel Ricciardo or Lando Norris keeps them by going through the inside. So he keeps that position by going through the inside of Leclerc when Leclerc tried to go around the outside. So that was a failure overtake from Leclerc, but nice job from Lando or Ricciardo, not sure who. Anyway, I'm in pole position. Same thing's happening like that. These corners are there's maybe a few slow corners, like 1 or 3, but the rest is just pace, and it's just amazing. It's such a fast Grand Prix, and if you're in pole position, unless you mess up, you've basically got pole position for the rest of the race. And most Grand Prix, it wouldn't be like that, and also the cars usually do catch up, but I'm just really good on this Grand Prix, like I am. You've seen me in Bahrain win. You've seen me go like 7th, 4th, a bit behind, then work my way back up. You've seen me DNF crash because I span out. So it's not a constant, like, I'm not a very constant driver. I'm not getting like 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th. I'm getting like win, loss, like crash, 4th, lower in the middle, and then a win, you could say. I don't know. Like, it's not an average. It is on the race. It's not on the driver. It's usually, right now, it's the racetrack that really makes a difference for me. Though obviously, it's hard to defend off Bottas, and I am making mistakes like I did here. And, well, we'll see. Oh, I hit a curb. That is one of the curbs you can spin on. Anyway, this is Lance Stroll, who actually span on a curb in the United Kingdom Grand Prix, the Silverstone Grand Prix. That has ruined Lance Stroll's race, and that just shows you should never be too cocky, because any time you can spin out. And so, by the way, that wasn't... Oh, this is my teammate taking over Latifi. Can he do it? He's going around the inside. He gets past Latifi and keeps that position. So our teammate isn't doing as bad as he usually does, and he's actually gaining places for once. Anyway, that has ruined Lance Stroll's race. We just skipped ahead on a few laps anyway. But that has ruined Lance Stroll's race. And yeah, Hamilton, Verstappen in the pits. Some people have boxed on lap 7. We're boxing on lap 8. Here's a replay on who's going in the pits. So Hamilton, Verstappen. Anyway, while this goes on, Lance Stroll ruined his race because it wasn't the curb, it was that he accelerated on the curb, and he accelerated too soon. And if you just not gently press accelerate and just instantly press it, then he's gone. Well, obviously he doesn't press it, but you know what I mean. He pressed down accelerate too suddenly and he went skidding. That has ruined Lance Stroll's race. Let's see if he can bring it back from where he was. Anyway, because of the pits, Norris is in 4th, Sainz is in 5th. So maybe the people that were taking each other over were Norris and Sainz. I'm not sure. I just know it's a Ferrari. So my teammate is in his pits now. He's in the pits. As you saw, he took someone over, so he isn't doing as bad as he usually does. Okay, so this is me going in the pits at the end of lap 8. So will probably Bottas, as you can see. He's coming in now with Perez behind him. Verstappen didn't get the, you could say, best pit. And, yeah, stuff like that happened. So I am now in the pits. And as you can see, the gap the top 5 built. Me, Bottas, Perez, Norris and Sainz. We're so far ahead. No one's caught up yet. No one's taking us over. This gap is massive. And is anyone coming? You can see on the mini-map. Is anyone actually going to take us over? Here comes a person. Yuki Tsunoda, who hasn't pitted yet. No wonder they're taking us over. But we have a massive gap. And for some reason, I don't think I put this strategy in. We've been put on hards when people will be going... Nearly everyone, maybe even everyone, will be going on mediums. And some, well, they're going for a 2-stop on softs. You saw a little skid there, but I controlled it. But anyway, Tsunoda's in the lead as he hasn't pitted yet, so he'll probably pit next lap. Same as Vettel and Giovinazzi, my rival. My rival's being in 5th. Giovinazzi isn't, like, he's sometimes getting a point, sometimes doesn't, so... Anyway, I retake first, and here is Giovinazzi, my rival, taking over 3 people, but then going in the pits, so it was not worth it to really take people over, but... He's in the pits now, and he's fallen behind, and here we go. Here's Hamilton and Verstappen. I don't know if we see Verstappen right now, but Verstappen will be back with us. Anyway, we skipped quite a few laps. We're on lap 11. I've been able to keep the lead, and there's not been any major events this whole entire time. I just told you how amazing I am at pole. I can just keep the lead. Anyway, this is Sainz and Leclerc battling. Charles Leclerc going around the inside. Does Sainz give it up? Yes, he does. And Sainz gives up his position with Leclerc. That is a little classic team rivalry there. And Charles Leclerc gets a position on Sainz, which isn't great for Sainz's career because, yeah, usually the better driver stays with the team and the worse driver gets kicked out or stays with the team as well. Anyway, this is another lap at the end of lap 12. So again, we skipped a lap. These type of Grand Prix, you're keeping the pole position. I'm not sure you just want to see me do laps and laps around the circuit. So anyway, here comes Lance Stroll making a move on Nikita Mazepin or Mick Schumacher, I'm not sure. Anyway, Lance Stroll goes around the outside and actually secures it very cleanly. He is bringing back from when he skidded. At least he gained a position that will give his morale a bit up for a bit. For skidding off a track like that, it's usually hard to bounce back, but I like to see that he's done well with that. Anyway, last lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix, the English Grand Prix.
Bottas is 5.1 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 3 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 33.1.
Alright, so that's Bottas's summarization. He is getting worse times than me. I'm beating him by a second.
Only got 2 laps of fuel left.
Anyway, last lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix of the English Grand Prix. We've kept pole for the whole entire time. If I don't skid out and we get through and win this thing, then that's our second win and more points up for our team, as I am bringing our team to glory in our first season. Alright, we are heading into the last few corners. As you can see, I don't know if you can barely see, it is starting to rain on the last lap, so that's happening. Anyway, it's Lando Norris or Daniel Ricciardo he's taken over one of the Ferraris around the outside, but can he pull it off? No, he can't, and he tried to pull off a last minute move on the last lap, but he couldn't pull it off, and he's behind both Ferraris, which will give the Ferraris definitely a massive boost as they're ahead of us in the Construction Championship. And here you go. We've won the English Grand Prix. We won our home Grand Prix, as you can see, our new helmet, and that was an amazing race. And our rival gets driver of the day. Well done to him, at least getting driver of the day.
Action here at Silverstone. It was a memorable race, and what an impressive victory. do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make
Look
their
at that,
way out onto the podium.
two people on the podium are Great Britain, and that's a good home Grand Prix for me there. Amazing, amazing drive. As I'm spewing my, actually I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is with champagne. What an amazing race. That is going to put us up in the championships by a lot.
World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
My driver of the day has to be, no question, Antonio Giovinazzi. Such an assured drive from one of the sport's newer stars, and a performance he can be very, very proud of.
Let's move on to the constructors. No change in the top spot, but with today's points, their hold on the lead is getting weaker. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Alright. Amazing stuff. We're third. We took over Valtteri Bottas in points. We're on our own championship. And in the constructors, we're fourth. Keeping gap between McLaren. Let's see next race. Can we keep that gap closed? And can our teammates step up and gain some points? Well, that's the question. Fantastic, you know, the good stuff. Amazing. What a great race that was. That's our second win. Just see how amazing that is. And we won with one of the worst cars.
Your luck has changed. Things went a lot better than last weekend, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it? Great. Well, that's everything.
Alright. What an amazing Grand Prix. What an amazing time. I got 5 points over my rival and he got 2. And you can see we're beating our rival by quite a bit. Amazing work by me there. And I upgrade to 9 acclaim. Our team upgrades to 12 acclaim. Oh no, it doesn't. We didn't get driver of the day because we were on pole. We didn't take over anyone. We just were on pole the whole entire time. That we wouldn't get any chance of getting driver of the day. Our rival took that away from us, so we don't get the bonus from our savant. And anyway, we head back team headquarters, and I'll see you next time for round 6. Or was that just round 6? For the next Grand Prix, which is the Belgian Grand Prix. So tune in for that Grand Prix.
Start considering where we can look to invest the profits we're making back into the team.